करुणाकर सूरीन्द्र गुरुवर्य पदाम्बुजां नवनीतनटोत्तंसां गुरुपङ्क्ति श्रियन्नुमः. Dear friends, today we are going to know the story of King Ambarisha. Ambarisha was a king from the Solar dynasty and he was an ancestor of Lord Rama. Ambarisha was a pious and devoted king who ruled the city of Ayodhya very wisely. He would always abide by rules ordained in the scriptures. He was fond of following the Shastras. It is said that one must observe fast on the day of Ekadashi and partake Parana on the day of Dwadashi. Dear friends, let me explain to you what Ekadashi and Dwadashi are. We all see the moon in the sky, right? There are days when the moon looks like as if it is a complete circle. There are days when we see the moon as a half moon, and there are days when the moon isn't visible at all. It is said that the moon follows a particular cycle which has two phases, namely the waxing phase and the waning phase. In the waxing phase, there is a growth in the size of the moon where it grows from not being there to becoming a full moon. The day when no moon is visible is known as Amavasya or the new moon day. We call it as Amavasai in Tamil. Starting on the day of Amavasya, the waxing phase begins, and in the next 14 days, the moon grows little by little and attains full size of a complete circle on the 15th day, which is called as Paurnami or Purnima or the full moon day. Now, starting from the full moon day, again the moon starts reducing in size till it disappears completely. This is known as the waning phase of the moon. The waxing phase is known as Shukla Paksha and the waning phase is known as Krishna Paksha. During both the Shukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha, the 11th day is known as Ekadashi, and it is said in the Shastras that one must fast during this day of Ekadashi. What is the significance? Why must one fast? Well, it is said that fasting once in 15 days cleanses the human body of all toxins. Also, not concentrating on eating and trying to make arrangements for eating gives one time to use the mind in righteous things. Thus, the mind also gets cleansed. So, fasting on Ekadashi day cleanses our body and mind completely. So, it is recommended that one follows a complete fast during the days of Ekadashi. Well, what if somebody cannot withstand a fast? What if somebody is sick or old? Is it mandatory that they should also fast? Our scriptures are very kind and always provide a right leeway for the required category of people. So, for children aged people and sick people, this fast need not be very steadfast. There can be relaxations like having some drinks, eating fruits, or having some light snack during the day. But if it is possible, and if a person is a healthy adult, then he or she must try and follow the Ekadashi fast. This is a common rule which is found in the scriptures. King Ambarisha knew this and was very particular about fasting on Ekadashi without even sipping a drop of water. The next day after Ekadashi is called as Dwadashi. This is the 12th day of both the Shukla Paksha and the Krishna Paksha. One is supposed to fast completely on Ekadashi and break the fast on Dwadashi. Now, breaking the fast also has some rules. One must break the fast on a Dwadashi day within the time span that Dwadashi is present in the day. Preferably, it should be done earlier in the morning times. How do we break the fast on a Dwadashi day? It is by doing Parana. Now, what is Parana? Parana is a preparation in which Nellikkai, that is gooseberry, Sundaikai, that is turkey berry, and Agatti Kirai, that is August tree leaves, are roasted in ghee and made into a saltless preparation. It is said that one must prepare this Parana and all other food items according to the norms of Dwadashi, which have again been ordained in scriptures, and offer all this to the Lord and partake the Parana in order to break the fast of Ekadashi. If one fasts on an Ekadashi and fails to do Parana on a Dwadashi day, there is no use having fasted on Ekadashi. The Ekadashi fast is completed only if one takes Parana on a Dwadashi day in the stipulated time. King Ambarisha used to follow this practice very religiously. On one Dwadashi day, King Ambarisha had a guest. His guest was sage Durvasa, who is known for his temper. Sage Durvasa came on a Dwadashi day, met King Ambarisha, and the king invited the sage to take Parana. The sage said he would have a bath before doing so. So the king humbly waited for the sage to have his bath and come back. But the sage took unusually long, and it was almost noon time, but the sage had still not returned. It was important for King Ambarisha to break his fast of Ekadashi by taking Parana before Dwadashi time was gone. But it was also important for him to wait for his guest so that he could feed him first before taking his meal. Thus, King Ambarisha was stuck between which dharma he had to follow. Whether he should follow his dharma of breaking his fast or whether he should follow the dharma of doing Atithi Satkara or respecting the guest. His Kulaguru or royal Pandit sage Vasishtha gave him a solution. He told King Ambarisha that it would be appropriate for the king to partake what is called as Jalaparana, meaning he could sip some water by reciting some mantras which would be equivalent to doing Parana, but he could still keep waiting for his guest sage Durvasa in order to actually have the complete meal. This appealed to King Ambarisha and he partook Jalaparana. As he was just sipping the water of Jalaparana, sage Durvasa appeared from nowhere. He was furious that the king had his parana without waiting for him. Though it was just Jalaparana, the sage was very angry that the king did not pay due respect to him. In his anger, sage Durvasa plucked out a hair from his head and created a demon from it using his yogic powers. The demon was about to pounce on King Ambarisha, but Lord Narayana, who was so pleased with the devotion and sincerity of Ambarisha, couldn't tolerate this. He had ordained his Sudarshana Chakra to protect this king under all circumstances. So, as soon as this demon appeared, the Sudarshana Chakra of Lord Narayana went and destroyed that demon. Not only that, it started chasing sage Durvasa. Sage Durvasa had committed a wrong by blaming the great devotee Ambarisha. This could not be tolerated by the Lord. So he sent the Sudarshana Chakra behind sage Durvasa. Sage Durvasa ran and ran across all the worlds. He went to Satyaloka to meet Lord Brahma and asked him to save him. But Brahma said, I am sorry. I cannot do anything about the Sudarshana Chakra. It is too powerful. Then he went to Kailasha, where he met Paramashiva. Paramashiva too replied, saying that it was not in his powers to control the Sudarshana Chakra. Then finally he went to the Milky Ocean or Kshirabdhi to meet Lord Vishnu. He appealed to the Lord saying that, Oh Lord, this chakra belongs to you. Please take it back. It's about to cut my head. To this, the Lord replied that, see, the chakra is behind you because you have done wrong to my devotee. So, it is only appropriate for you to go and seek his pardon. Go back to King Ambarisha and seek forgiveness. Durvasa ran and came back to King Ambarisha and pleaded with him to take back the Sudarshana Chakra. The kind-hearted Ambarisha prayed to the Sudarshana Chakra and made it go back to the Lord. Now, this story gives us many morals. The first moral is one must sincerely try and follow what is ordained in the scriptures. The second moral is one must always try and be as hospitable as possible. The third moral is we must not unnecessarily blame anybody. The fourth and the most important moral is the Lord always stands by his devotees. So never do Bhagavata Apachara or any wrong deed to a devotee of Lord Narayana. So let us all remember this story of King Ambarisha and try to follow the norms of Ekadashi fasting and Dwadashi Parana. Thank you.